welcome all to the OG Jazzy Jeff broadcast. Late nights with. There's only one place in all of Azeroth you'll see content quite like this. So let's get this party started.
Round 2. Fight.
I like where this arena is as well. I haven't seen an arena quite like this where it's inside of the actual building. I like what we have going on here. We have the rogue that's kind of creeping up. Looking for the warlock. The warlock is going to find them with that, or just with the flame strike from the mage actually as well. So the rogue has kind of got found out. The gouge goes down onto the warlock. The rank 1 frostbolt comes out. They're trying to kill the pet, and they are able to actually kill the pet here. We are going to see the mage try to get in and just do some of that AoE damage. But that AoE damage is going to get returned. The Frost Novas go down, the Fear goes down onto the Warrior, the Sheep goes out in situational. They get out of it quite quickly with that Trinket. Rogue down to half HP, the Fear goes out on them. Little Baden is going to actually get Sheep here. The Gouge goes down onto the Priest. They power word shield himself back up. Psychic Stream is going to connect with the Rogue and the Warrior right now. So that's a lot of CC coming out. And you can't dispel that even if you could. So we're seeing one player going to go down already. It's looking in favor of this Priest, Warlock, Mage composition right now. And part of me is not surprised just because they do have the additional healing available to them. Periwinkle down to half HP, but he's fighting. And with enough Crusader Sprox, you never know if they're able to get something done. Just trying to train the Warlock, just trying to the Warlock and the Priest if they're able to, but it's not going to look as though they're going to be successful here. And this composition of casters, this Warlock, Priest, Mage, seems to be taking the cake right now. There just wasn't quite enough damage from the triple DPS combination to finish this one off, and I think part of it was opener as well. It looked like the Flame Strike did pull the Rogue out of the stealth there, just kind of like going into that room, getting funneled into that room, and getting AoE'd out of a position where they maybe could have gotten some sort of more substantial opener. Now, I didn't even think about this, but there's no cheap shot available to the Rogue yet at 19. They're more limited on what sort of things they can open with, and they don't necessarily have as good a stealth as they're going to have eventually either, so that's something to think about. So even if the Flame Strike hadn't connected with them, is that going to be something that hinders them when they're trying to get their openers off here? They do have the ambush, but honestly, in a lot of ways, that's all they're going to need if they're able to get the burst out. Cheap shot's always going to be a handy move, but just not available or in their arsenal just yet. So it's going to come down to how do they open? Can they get the burst? Can they maybe get a cheeky sap off? Now, there's not an improved sap. They're not going to probably have improved sap where they're able to actually sap and re-stealth. But even if you could sap and then start your opener from there, as far as just like using sinister strikes and such, that'd be absolutely massive.
Oh, did we really? Oh, it's megaphone. Sorry, guys. And they got the pet right before the sack as well. Dude, Grammy, we're getting all the kinks out for tomorrow. And for the actual tournament, for this 19 Twinks tournament. And then we'll be good for the actual event. Thank God for that.
We have 3 minutes to discuss, and then the game 2 is going to start.
Alright, 3 minutes sounds good. Yeah, I'm sure we all could use some laughs, Grammy, honestly. Are you nervous for tomorrow? I'm nervous for tomorrow, but I'm ready for tomorrow. And also, I want to note that it's been absolutely massive being able to have the team come in and say little things like that, because hypothetically, if I do that for tournament day, you can get in there, just pop in and be like, Jeff voice effect, and then I'll turn it off right away if I manage to somehow do that for the actual event. It actually makes a world of difference. They've been able to come in here and pop in and say a detail about the match, say who's up next, stuff like that. Like, normally I'll have like a bracket sheet in front of me, so it won't be as important to have something like that, but yeah. Be a part of the Clásico Twinks. I'll jump in there, Solmar. I definitely will. If you guys ever need me to cast little events, I'd be happy to. Just anything in general, really. It's something I enjoy doing, honestly. The community loves it.
Sides, by the way.
Cool. Okay, so the teams are switching sides here. I like your guys' arena layout as well. It's very good. It's different. It's different than I've previously casted, and making it inside makes for some interesting LOS elements that I haven't necessarily seen in some of the other tournaments I've been a part of. So yeah, this caster composition is going to be a powerful one, I feel like. Now the warlock pet seemed to have gone down pretty quick. It's not like it's overly sturdy, but I think it's still a better call than the Imp in a lot of ways. It protects the Warlock. It allows for the Warlock to maybe get more aggressive and be at the forefront of the battle, kind of effectively being the tank of the team, allowing for things like the Voidwalker sacrifice. That's going to be big. Now we do see an enchant on situational. I agree. I think this is a really solid plan. I think any caster could consider int enchant over the spell power enchant, just because you know, your mana pool's limited. You know, you want to be casting spells as long as possible. The scaling isn't necessarily going to be what you'd want it to be, or see as high numbers as you'd want just from 30 SP. So 22 int enchant, never going to be a bad thing. Of course, I usually go with the fancy spell power when I'm leveling Twinks and things like that. But yeah, it helps having a mining pick. You can just switch around from tune to tune. You can do the same thing with a mining pick at the end of the day, as far as an int enchant is concerned, though, as well. So let's see what let's check up. I actually really like. I kind of like starting where the rogue starts, to see how they like to get their opener up. So we're gonna follow the rogue, the triple DPS team here, just to start things off here.
All right, Jeffrey, I'm gonna get them ready to go.
Sounds good, sir. If the mage can get a cheeky sheep off on the priest, that's going to be another huge one. If we could just get some CC on the priest, so if we could get a sap or a sheep or something like that, you're seeing the pet kind of come in already. There's the flame strike from the mages. They're going to try to take down the Voidwalker if they're able to right now. And the Voidwalker is they're being conservative with it. It's got the renew. There's the Warlock kind of coming at the forefront here to try to tank some of this damage. How are we going to get open? Or how's the opener going to come out here? We see the sheep onto the priest. That's exactly what I want to see right now as this battle starts to unfold. There is going to be a trinket that allows the sheep to get out of sheep, and then actually sheeps his opponent instead. The fear goes down onto Little Baden. They get out of it quite quickly here. The dots are going down, just kind of cycling those, and it's going to the Warlock pretty quickly here. They're already down to half HP. The sheep's going to come down afterwards on a situational right now. We need to see a dispel. The gouge comes down onto the priest. The Warlock's getting pretty low right now. Sheep comes down onto Periwinkle. So that's going to be a problem. We can't get out of that one either. There's not a lot of sources of interrupt or things like that. But Quasian is pretty low right now. Can we finish him off? Can we do enough damage? The kick comes down onto the priest. The gouge comes down afterwards. The Warlock getting very low. Can they kite away? The power shield gets cycled on them. They put the bandage on themselves. The throwing knife is going to interrupt it. Saps is getting very, very low. If he could try to line of sight, try to bandage, try to do something, maybe. But he's just blinking. He was chasing down the priest, and they were feeling pressured, and you never know in just the blink of an eye they can do enough damage to a squishy Clothy, the inner fire likely being off of them by then, and I can't imagine they had time to reset it. Now, warriors are very powerful Twinks, I have found. Just the Crusader proc, when that comes out, it comes out in a very big way. It's not just the heal. So look at this, though. Situational Zoom. Quasian Zoom. Banks this could happen, but the thing is, they're abusing the sheep. They have a dispel, and the other team doesn't. The sheep has been on Little Baden for quite a while right now, and Periwinkle's going to go down. KO! And this is just one of those things where I think the healer or the caster composition just brute forces is able to kind of brute force them. With time almost. Time is going to be the winning factor here. They have a healer, they have regeneration, they have restore in terms of HP, and so they can just kind of win from that angle. I love that Little Baden is trying his damnedest, puts down the bandage on himself, is going to try to get a sheep off. If they get the sheep off, you never know. This would be the play of the century, but unfortunately, you don't have things like the evocation. You don't have things like the powerful mana gem that he's going to have eventually. So now it comes down to just a battle of wands. And in the wizarding world, in a 1 versus 3, there's no way that Harry Potter's going to take on Voldemort and 3 Dementors at the same time. GG. Good fight. That was really close. That was actually very close. You saw how that our casters were starting to get. Quasian getting low. Situational. Bank getting low, all low on resources. And yeah, they have the opportunity to try to drink up and reset, but they weren't really being allowed that. Even though they were sheeping Lil Baden a lot, Periwinkle and Saps were quite good about just keeping everyone, all the opponents in combat, kind of keeping the pressure on them. The interrupt went out on a Banky. They broke through the powered shields and were able to almost kill the Warlock on a couple different occasions. But in the end of the day, they just weren't able to get the finisher off. They even still have the pummel. They don't have the pummel, excuse me, but they have the interrupt, the kick from the rogue. So they have one interrupt with the kick. They have one interrupt with the gouge. So they do have both these tools available to them to try to shut down a healer. But it just wasn't enough. Good game. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot, actually.
Yeah, thank you, Jeffrey, so much for casting that, by the way.
Oh, of course. It was an absolute honor. That was fun. And honestly, this is where I'm all about. I'm a Twink player at the end of the day. I play on level 30s, weird brackets. I play on lobies. This is a comfort zone. This is exactly where I want to be.
Killed